The following podcast is a Dear Media production.
Does anyone actually know what's going on here?
I literally have no idea. Help.
We're 20 whatever. Hi.
Hey. Hello.
And welcome back to 20 whatever. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
I have the giggles.
I feel like when you're like not supposed to laugh, you're like,
yes.
It's like a really serious situation or you're like in class.
Yes, I do too. I've started thinking about something. I started thinking about this TikTok that I've been seeing. And it's the one where this is old. It's like a resurfaced TikTok.
Okay.
Remember the filter? Like it would have like the music and the bodies would be like, doo, 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 doo.
Yes.
You know those?
Yes.
I've been seeing them again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is so ridiculous, but it's so funny every time. So I was thinking about that while we were doing the intro. So if my hello was a little shaky, I was
It's because that's what was in your brain.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
You know what's funny with TikTok filters is like, remember when filters were like brand new, like Snapchat filters, and it was like, oh my God, this can like make me a cat like in real time. Yes. And now we're using it for like a giant like sexy Shrek like dancing in the background.
Right.
T.
We've come a long way.
We have.
We've evolved.
Dude,
We're devolved.
Okay. We're actually getting worse. The filter that has honestly gotten so much better, I feel like, even with the rise of AI, has been that underwater filter. So remember how that like first submerged and we were like, oh, we can like be above the water and cool filter.
Right.
Now I saw the water filter just yesterday and it feels too
like
real.
So real.
It feels so real. Like I'll literally walk around my home and I can hear the water like gurgling around and I'm like, this is too. It's giving like
no
immersed.
gurgle. Yeah.
Oh God, what's your gurgle, girl?
No. But yeah,
We're just a gaggle of gurglers.
Which wait a second. I also learned recently on TikTok, of course, that you as humans can differentiate the temperature of water.
Pouring into a glass, you can hear the difference if it's hot or cold. I watched that yesterday.
Stop. What?
Okay.
I've never seen.
I'm glad that we're here
Yes,
so we can
I'm here.
explain it to me.
Wow.
Please tell her about this.
Tell me.
You explained it perfectly, please.
Dude, this guy literally is like, oh my God, so did you know that like as humans, you can tell the difference between this? And so he's like, all right, ready, here we go. We're going to close your eyes and I'm going to pour a temperature, like some water into a cup and it's either going to be hot or cold. And you, just by listening, can tell what it sounds like. And I closed my eyes and I tried it and I was like, I know the sound of what cold water is being poured and hot water. And I had no idea until that moment. And I feel like we should test it out on Riayn.
We totally should. I have not on that. I'm not on that side of TikTok, but sounds really cool. It's
Yeah, because you're
science.
too busy watching all the NPCs.
Yeah.
Lizzie.
Yeah.
Stop engaging with that.
I know.
Go watch the last episode if you don't get that. But yeah, we're happy to be back. Excited to be here. Excited to get into another episode and chat with two of my favorite people. Three of my favorite people.
Right.
Jess in her producer corner.
Yes.
How are we feeling today? Deep sigh.
Yeah.
I'm the dog.
Yeah. I'm spiraling a little bit. I mean, I definitely was yesterday. Yesterday also was a Sunday. We're filming this on a Monday, which is ironic. Yeah, I was, because I was packing to come here and so many things were happening and I knew I was going to be here for like a longer period of time. So I had to bring a lot of clothes and I was like, we're also filming. So I got need clothes for that. And so I was like, there was so much happening. And I was like, I just would love if this was like Saturday today.
Oh my gosh.
Like if I could just like get all of this done today, like if it was Saturday, Sunday I could just sit, but I can't because then it's Monday, and that's the scary part of Sunday. And I don't think it's actually Sunday; it's Monday. We're just scared on the Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes, we're anticipating the scare.
Yes, yes.
And it's unfortunate that you're like already
you
dreading
ruin it.
And
you ruin your day.
I know, you're like literally what's it called? Being scared on Sunday, and you're like, I should be enjoying this, but instead I'm thinking about what I have to do.
Right.
It's like the impending
doom.
list. Doom of to-dos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like pretty overwhelmed with this one as well, like getting ready to pack for the week here in San Diego. And then from here, I'm actually going to be traveling to Japan. So I had to double pack. And I was a little stressed because we were taking the train down to San Diego. And I was like, I'm going to be schlepping lugs, which I was schlepping luggage this morning.
She was dropping them, falling down. It was a whole
If you saw me at Union Station in LA, no, you didn't. Because I was stumbling out of the Uber, pulling out bags, the bag that I was like trying to balance on top fell off like multiple times. And I was like, oh, sweet niblets. Where is girl Riayn? Like I was just like needing her to get there. And it's just so tough when you're traveling by yourself and you have so much stuff. I truly in that moment was thinking, how the heck do mothers do this with like car seats and a kid? And I was thinking about that because I was like trying to do, it was just my stuff. I'm like, I'm like, oh my God. This is just my shit. I'm not trying to have to carry for someone else.
Right.
Oh my God. So I was just like dreading and doing all the list. And I was like, stop. You will not go through this twice. You will not live through doing the bags, doing the train.
Because you already have to do it. You have to do it.
But me on Sunday sitting on my couch like, oh my God, I'm going to hate going to the train. I'm going to hate doing this.
Right.
No. Ladies.
Because then
just
you're experiencing it twice.
Right. Just hate it tomorrow when you're literally doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Enjoy the fact that you don't have to do it right now.
Wait till tomorrow to be a hater.
Yes. That'll solve all your problems.
And what's crazy is usually when you end up doing it, like it wasn't bad. Like it was, I think I dreaded it more the Sunday night than I actually was the burden today. Like, waiting. Like,
well, it's the not anticipation, but it's like you work that up in your brain, but it doesn't actually like end up being half of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're so anxious and you're like, it's going to be like this. And then they're going to say this and this is this. And then you get there and like literally nothing happens. And you're like, wow, I really overthought that.
Yeah.
Wow. That was really dramatic.
I'm like scaring myself. Yeah, I'm doing it to myself. Like I'm giving myself the Sunday scaries. You don't just get it. Like you're doing it to yourself, which is when you realize you're the problem. Oh no.
Dude,
it's me.
Yeah. I feel like I literally hype up everything in my head and then nothing is ever that big of a deal. And I'm like, you would think you would learn. You think you would just like stop being so dramatic and just like know that it's never going to be that deep because it's never ever been that deep.
Yeah. It's the resistance towards something. And I know that that's the pain. Like that's it. And that is why when I feel the resistance, I acknowledge it and I'm like, Paloma, you're doing this to yourself because you're resisting it. If you just accept it and you know you're going to do it, you can start using other thoughts to like feel good about it.
Right.
Which, by the way, I also did recently learn on TikTok yet again that you have like 17 seconds to feed yourself like a different thought. Because if you have a bad thought, within 17 seconds, that brain will keep feeding because think about it. If you're focused on something, your attention's to that. So your brain's going to keep feeding you stories and thoughts towards that thing. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to set my alarm for 5:30 to get to the train. All you're doing is like, oh my God, thinking about that feeling. You're literally picturing yourself how you in the past have set an alarm, had to wake up, and you're like living like past another thing.
Yeah.
So it's like just resisting rather than just being like, nope, I'm going to wake up at 5:30 and that's great. But you know what? I do need to, and I'll try to reroute in like quick. But it like you have to.
You got to move quickly.
Right. Yeah. So if you have a bad thought, try to like stop and be like, okay, quickly, something good.
Oh, no. That's so deeply relatable.
That's so deeply relatable. And I was reading in the comments where people were like, oh my gosh, that's so right. But like, you need to know that before you get there because it's tough to like bring a good thought in that moment.
That's what I was going to say. The problem is my brain goes, there's nothing good. Everything's bad.
So start preloading.
Think of something good. It doesn't exist. Right. Yeah. I need to have them preloaded.
Right.
Like an iPod.
Yes.
Literally. And then you push
Downloaded.
shuffle and whatever, you're like, flowers are gorgeous. That's the shuffle for the day.
Yeah.
That's the good thought.
And I put myself on TikTok this recently in December about how like I've been having, like when I get my periods, it's like with my mood, it's like, and just like my mind, it's like very not where I would want it to be. And so I had a tough time a couple weeks ago and I was just like, every single thought that's being fed to me is like, I'm like, this does not belong to me. This is just like my mind feeding me these terrible thoughts of like, you're not enough or whatever. Yeah. And so I was like, stop, just stop thinking. Let's go in the shower, put on a really feel-good song, and just truly try to think about something else because it's the thoughts that are honestly making me spiral more and more. Right, and so I just, and it's not even like advice being like, oh, you should, but I like, for myself, I was like, I feel like the only thing that can drag me out of this is listening to a song that makes me feel good and like shower, come out and feel better and just like thinking of stuff that will make me think better thoughts.
Yeah.
Dude, a shower is like a magical reset.
Truly.
Sorry, Jess, I interrupted you.
No, you're good. I was going to say, I'm in the middle of looking to see if I have PMDD or not. So we're in the middle of diagnosis stuff for that. But it's with that. And I feel like it's stuff, especially around your period, when it's literally hormonal. You can't think your way out of it.
No.
Right.
But you can actionably do things like I call it calling it a day or just kind of accepting that I'm having a bad time and I'm on the roller coaster and being like, okay, well, I can't change that I'm on the roller coaster, but like, let me plan for when I get off the roller coaster. So it's like, I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to put on the comfy clothes. I'm going to tuck myself into bed early because I know I'm probably not going to get anything I really wanted to do today done while I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So I'm like setting myself up to like minimize the amount of like turmoil I have a role in while accepting that like a lot of it is hormonal and completely out of my hands.
Right.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I do feel like so much of that can be tied like to your menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like it is? Because as someone who hasn't had a period since June and won't have a period for probably a while longer being pregnant.
Yeah.
You know, last time I didn't get my period until like 8 months postpartum or something.
Oh, wow.
Like, I don't know. I wonder if like I do have an easier time with that stuff now. Obviously, there's pregnancy hormones, but it is so different than like the cycle of your period.
I mean, I had people commenting, girl, it's the luteal phase. Correct me if I'm wrong. How do you pronounce luteal phase. And I am going to start doing some research on it. I genuinely am so new here, but I'm going to can you speak to it at all, Jessica, please?
I actually, so I put it in my calendar when I hit my follicular, because in theory this matters with PMDD and some other hormonal stuff. Your luteal phase is like, it can vary person to person, but it's like, I don't know, 10 or so days before you get your actual like menstrual cycle, before you actually menstruate. And then it's menstruation, followed by follicular, followed by ovulation, followed by luteal. And for me, I get like migraines when I ovulate. So there's always like, I don't know, I always forget that I exist in space. And so being able to like cycle track has been kind of life changing because it also like points out when I'm going to be like the most exhausted. So I look at that week that I'm in my luteal phase going into my period, but I haven't started my period yet. And I go, I'm not going to be creative. I'm not going to be this. My focus needs to be on like making sure I'm like eating consistently and that I got enough sleep the night before.
Yeah. And that's what I'm going to start doing is like tracking when that is, but it's like right before my period. It's like, what's crazy is I haven't even been feeling like these moods like while it's like right before, literally right before the period. And I'm just like, nothing matters. Like I just feel I can't think myself. I just can't get out of it until, and then I remember, which is so funny because I forget every single month.
I was literally about to say that. I was like, wow, we get shocked every time. We're like, oh, it's just my period. I'm like, girl, it's
every month.
You're not new here. Like, you know what's coming.
Every month, I'm like, nothing matters. I don't like what, and then I'm like, oh, you're gonna have a period, and you're like, oh, well, that makes sense. And once I like can literally,
once I know, I'm like, oh, okay,
yeah. Once I can like label what it's to, I feel so better. So why am I like constantly always like, what could it be, girl? Every month you are gonna just not feel good.
Yeah.
And so I am currently going to figure out how to combat that because I feel like every month it is a battle of just like, we'll just get through today.
Yep.
And that's the goal. Just get through today.
Yeah.
Because, woo.
Yeah. I feel like this conversation is like really important. And like, I don't think we even intended it to be like, even talking about like periods or anything like that. But like, that a majority of our audience is dealing with that and like don't even really know like how to deal with it. And I like don't really hear a lot of conversation about stuff like this that much.
I feel like it's stigmatized. I mean, even growing up, when you were just talking about like, oh, you know, like right before my period, when we were growing up, people used to use like PMS, premenstrual syndrome, as like an insult.
Yeah, are you PMSing?
Yeah, like people never really use PMS anymore. Like I haven't heard that in a while.
Right.
But it totally was a thing. Like, oh, you must be PMSing.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, absolutely probably.
Dude, as you're saying that, Sierra, I'm now realizing that a lot of the times I don't want to associate it with my period because then I would be agreeing, yeah, girls do act like this and feel this way. And I'm trying to combat that.
Right,
No,
you're like,
no,
don't,
just because I'm upset doesn't mean I'm PMSing, bitch. It's
Right.
because I'm upset. Listen to what I'm saying.
Right. And I'm also PMSing, bitch. So
I know. right.
Well, and then also being I don't know, being a woman and having your pain taken seriously is also, I think, difficult.
Yeah.
And then also you only know what you know. So you grow up, in theory, your mom gets their period, you get your period. All of the advice you get is kind of hand-me-down advice. So especially a lot of these conditions that could affect your period are genetic. And so the likelihood of like everyone I have 2 sisters, and all of us in our family have terrible periods. And mine was like the least bad of everyone. So I thought mine was normal. It's not. But my frame of reference was only here until I started, in your 20s and everything else, talking about it with the people around you and being like, oh, you're not in debilitating pain for 5 days? That's weird. And they're like, no, yours is weird.
You're weird.
And that pain can be so intense, especially for people who have, like menstrual and hormonal related like issues.
Yeah.
But it's so often cast off as like, oh, that's just like period cramps.
Right.
And it's like, that can be like serious, like debilitating pain just because it's related to my ovaries and my uterus. Why is that then not taken seriously?
And endometriosis, which is like very, very under-researched. That made me think of 2 things. The period simulators with people and their partners on TikTok. Love it. Check it out.
Love it.
And
I always want to get one.
Endometriosis is being studied a lot more because they're finding when you go to a doctor that specializes in like one, part of the body or system of the body, they don't normally look at it holistically, and they're not looking at if that affects other parts of your body. And so they've been finding endometriosis scarring on other organs of the body and like people's brains and stuff, which is like a crazy, that I feel like I only heard about that in the last year, and it literally blew my mind.
I mean, I got diagnosed with PCOS like 5 years ago, maybe. And I really only looked into it because we were wanting to get pregnant. But my whole life, I had really painful periods. I would get migraines around my period. I had like a lot of hormonal issues that I feel like I just kind of cast off. And I couldn't just like ignore it or try to mask it with like medication and stuff. I needed to like get it taken care of.
Right.
And it wasn't until going through that, and they for a while they were like looking into, maybe they thought I had endometriosis before I got the PCOS diagnosis. And it wasn't until then that I realized, oh, a lot of these things that have been happening to me around my menstrual cycle aren't normal.
Yeah.
And also there are ways that I could have my entire, like life post puberty.
Right.
There are ways I could have been making this better.
Yeah.
I just didn't know that it wasn't normal, and I didn't know that there was a reason in my body having, polycystic ovarian syndrome that was causing this.
Right.
And then, getting the diagnosis since then, and then, when my period came back after having Grace, I now have tools in my toolkit to make my periods better.
Right.
And it's like night and day difference.
I mean, it's like once you know, then you can help yourself.
You can treat it.
Yes, because and the thing is too, I feel like, because Jess touched on this, but like the tolerance for pain in women is like ridiculous because, well, like I feel like us being like, oh yeah, my head hurts or like my back hurts or something, it's fine. If I say that and I am like in so much pain, like we downplay it because that's what we're told to do. And we like, even we joke about this. We're like, oh, being a woman is just like constantly being in pain. Like something just always hurts. And it's like, haha, but also not haha.
Right.
Like,
let's look into it. There should be something
but we are just so like conditioned as people to like just take pain. Like it just, it just is.
This conversation is honestly motivating me. As you know, I have been avoiding the doctor, but I have got to go. And it's very clear it's time. It's past time. But I struggle with hormonal acne. So like I know like my acne will tell me before like I start bleeding, and it and it's like painful. And I'm very aware that shouldn't be happening, right? That there must be an underlying issue that I'm still 28 years old and having hormonal acne and like really deep rooted. So I'm concerned that maybe that hormonal acne is like also combined with something period related, because if I'm also having like really bad like mental and like feeling like that is just so bad, there's probably something else there.
Yeah.
And that's why for so long I wanted to avoid like using steroids on my acne, because I was like, I need to solve this holistically, like with
I need to see like what's going on
because
in
it means that there's something within me that's like not naturally balanced or something. Like there's something with my gut. I don't want to do steroids. Like let's heal the gut. Let's do that. So maybe my gut or my ovaries.
There's just so much.
There's so many things.
Yeah. You bringing up that mindset too. I remember my therapist had to like convince me to take Tylenol, and I have nothing against like pain relief or normal medication. Like that's not a problem. But she was like, so you're taking it when you like actually can't stand or you can't do something. And she was like, why wouldn't you take it when you know you're about to get your period? Because like it's always bad. And I was like, well, I want to like know if it gets worse. And if I have pain medication, I can't monitor if it's worse than my baseline. And she's like, okay, but then you're also spending like an obscene amount of time. You don't have to be in a lot more pain than you have to experience over and over.
Oh my gosh, I'm the same way. I'm hearing you and seeing you. I'm the same person. I will honestly wait until it's like intolerable to take it, but I always end up taking the Advil.
Not me, so bro. Why am I- Dude, as soon I'm like, my period's coming tomorrow, I'm taking Tylenol right now.
That's what I have to do.
Because if I don't, then I'm rolling around on the ground, literally like dying, and I just don't have time for that.
Yeah. No, right.
I
don't have time
for that. It's like I'm already gonna have like all of the other symptoms. Like I just like can't also be like bent over. I just like
I hear it.
I take the time as soon as I'm like it's coming, popping it, let's go, because like preventative.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, this last one did a doozy on me, and talking to you ladies is honestly making me feel like I'm gonna just and listening to Morgan advocate for her health and be like, because it's scary. I feel like they don't really listen to me. So, but I'm really gonna be like, hey, this has been happening and it's been going on for too long. I really need someone to listen. And if I feel like you're not understanding, I would like to speak with someone else. And I would never say that.
That reminds me of when I was getting ready to give birth to Grace. I remember I was really nervous about like being able to advocate for myself in that situation, and not just be like, oh, sure, okay, whatever you say.
Right.
And one of my friends told me, she was like, don't forget that like you're paying for this. They're not doing you a favor.
Right.
So it's okay to ask for something else, to advocate for yourself, to ask for more information, to see if there's another person you can see if it's not a good fit. Like, this is not just something that has to happen to you. You can be an active participant in the care.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's something I feel like you need to tell people, because I'm barely honestly trying to make my own appointment for my own self. So you think I'm advocating for myself? Girl.
I mean, we're also told like if they tell you something,
listen to the doctor.
Like that. Like you don't know, you're not the doctor. So what they tell you.
Asking a second opinion is so important when it comes to things, and it's also hard because at least in the US, medical care can be more difficult to navigate with insurance companies and everything else.
Yeah. And the wait times.
Yeah.
Like my PCOS diagnosis, I remember I had to go through like multiple doctors, to eventually get to meet with a endocrinologist, like a hormone doctor. And they were booking like 3 months out.
Right. Oh my gosh.
And so I was like, first I had to get the referral to this doctor. And then finally I'm able to meet with the endocrinologist
in 3 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And something since you guys didn't bring it up, but I feel like it might be useful. I'm sure this varies, but you can have somebody come help you advocate. Like I used to go to certain appointments with family members or other, because if you're already going through something big or scary or overwhelming or painful, having somebody else who's there to, even if it's just a friend or your sibling or whatever, to take notes and to ask questions about follow-up care or other, or, be there to validate you when you go, hey, that was kind of weird that they said this, or they told me I really shouldn't ask for a second opinion, like being able to help. And I wish that was more commonplace, but that is an option, and you can always ask and see what's available to you.
We're going to take a quick pause and hear a word from our sponsor.
If you're trying to save time and still have a delicious and easy meal, HelloFresh handles the meal planning and the shopping. So all you have to do is open your weekly box of pre-portioned ingredients and step-by-step recipes to get cooking. Each HelloFresh box is packed with farm-fresh ingredients, and everything arrives pre-portioned right to your doorstep. Less hassle and less food wasted. Just choose your meals and select your delivery date. Whether you're wanting to save money, eat better, or stress less, HelloFresh can help you do all three. So say hello to the most delicious year yet with fresh ingredients and chef-crafted recipes at a price you'll like, delivered right to your door. So whether you're looking to save time, add to your recipe book, or just learn more about cooking, HelloFresh is for you. HelloFresh is so easy. I first started using them when Paloma and I moved to LA a few years ago, and I was hooked. As a girlie who doesn't love cooking and is easily overwhelmed by all the options at the grocery store, HelloFresh was a no-brainer. One of my favorite meals that I would make for us were these bulgogi meatballs. Oh my God, you guys, when I tell you, they're so easy. Literally roll up the meat. I'm not going to tell you how to make meatballs, but if you don't know, HelloFresh will tell you. Rice, so easy. The carrots, oh my God, I'm drooling just thinking about it. Literally one of my favorite meals. I'm also so excited that they have these 15-minute recipes designed to help you minimize mealtime stress. Where do I sign up? Oh, right here. Go to HelloFresh.com/whateverfree and use code whateverfree for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at hellofresh.com/whateverfree with code whateverfree from America's #1 meal kit.
Dude, honestly, Jessica, you are so right. And I just want to know, what are you doing on the 4th week of January? Are you available to come and take notes at my doctor's appointment?
I absolutely will.
You have such a good point on bringing a friend, and you're hired, so.
Literally.
Dude, that's why I miss like having to go to doctor's appointments with my mom.
Right.
Lori takes no shit. My
Right.
mom was like my fiercest advocate, especially with my mental health stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't think I would have gotten to the point that I did with my mental health, like coming out of my worst depressions, if it wasn't for my mom.
Wow.
And I'm like, I can't advocate for myself like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Mom.
Well, also
Yeah.
also try doing that while you're literally going through it.
Right.
Like you're already experiencing something so severe, then to also like try to explain to somebody, you're like, actually cut the cameras because like I can't
Right.
Yeah.
explain to you, Mom, please.
Yeah.
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 And also, like, my mom being like, yeah, no, we can't wait that long. So is there another office? We'll drive here. We'll drive there. We can do this. We'll see any doctor, you know, like doing that instead of me just being like, okay,
Oh my
see you in
gosh.
6 months.
Right.
Hopefully I make it till then.
Right.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Well, and
Right.
like, not to be a huge poop, but party pooper like wasn't quite the right one, so we just went with poop. But not to be, because I think a lot of healthcare workers are doing the absolute best they can within a system that does not support them or their patients, and I can't even imagine. I saw this, and it's worked so far, and it goes hand in hand with the advocacy bit we talked about, but the making sure that what you're talking about with your care providers or the nurses you're seeing or whatever is actually being put on your chart and being put correctly.
Yes.
Because, you know, typos happen, things can get lost in translation. Like there are so many commonplace accidents that happen with that where there's no malicious intent, but also just making sure that it gets noted. And if you have questions about I know it's just more things to do, but questions about your insurance, this, that, and the other, asking them to provide like a full itemized receipt can be helpful if there is anything that isn't super lovely going on, because they have to prove it.
Yeah, and they have to take notes of those things. And it's also like, as like a nosy person, it's kind of fun to go back and read like the after visit summary.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, patient asked about this, patient did this. Like when I was in recovery for Grace, all except one of the medical providers I saw were lovely and helpful and caring. And there was one who I really did not care for and was really, I just felt like invalidating to me. And I like kind of went back and forth with her for a minute. And then I went back and read the chart and it was like, patient became frustrated and upset. And I was like, yeah, I did.
She's like, you're damn right.
Right. But it's like fun. It's like kind of funny.
Right.
So helpful.
Patient seemed upset.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
girl, I was. Thank you for
As
noting.
you.
Thank you for catching that.
Right.
You're like,
Actually, change it to irate.
redacted.
No, I call it, hi, there was an issue with my chart. It said I became slightly upset. I wasn't upset. I was fucking mad. I was angry.
I have ADHD, and so sometimes, especially for like telehealth things, obviously you need the consent of whatever person you're meeting with, but I'll ask them if I can audio record. Because it's me and my notes, and then also I found that the notes tend to reflect more validly to what happened when I ask if I can record, because I won't remember.
Right. Right. That's
Right.
nice, yeah.
They're all of a sudden like, oh, wait, they listening.
Yeah.
Tell me again, Ms. Jessica.
Right.
Tell me about your pain that I feel is very valid.
Exactly. Yes.
Instead of being like, oh, your periods are hard. Yeah. Yeah, you know.
Sometimes it's like that.
Being a girl is so tough. I'm like, oh my God.
that's- I know.
Yes.
You're right. That's why we're here.
Right.
Please.
So while we're on, the topic of periods, which wasn't even planned for this episode, but I feel like this conversation is so good. I'm like, let's roll with it.
Yeah.
Agreed. What are some coping mechanisms or things that you've used to set yourself up for success on your period that you feel like are really helpful?
Honestly, this is so I feel like just dumb to say, but as somebody who isn't always on top of tracking it, I have often been left with 2 tampons, and I'm gonna start literally bleeding all over the place and I'm not prepared, that will literally like we're at the beginning and I'm like, now I just have to go to the store and I have to do all this stuff. Like I really try to like when I'm done with my period, like the cycle, whatever, I will like go and just pick up everything I need for the next time and just already have it so that when it comes, I'm prepared. Because there's been so many times where I'm like, I start my period and I'm like heading over to the bathroom casually and there's like one tampon in the box that's still in the thing that I thought was full.
Thank you, reminder. I literally took my last and I was like, I need another pie
up because there's nothing like going and not having anything.
Yeah.
And that's so simple and silly. Like you would think like, duh, you dummy, you have it every month. Like, don't you know?
But you think, oh, I'll just get them later.
Get them later when it's relevant.
But you're never going to buy them unless you are actually bleeding. So literally do your future self a favor and place the overnight Amazon, whatever,
do whatever
right
you need
then
to
and
do.
there because you'll forget. And then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, well, we're off to a terrible start.
And now when I want to stay inside and I don't want to go anywhere, I have to go to the store or I got to do this thing to get the things I need because I need them now.
Right.
Because I'm bleeding now.
Yeah.
So
I'm thinking, I'm like, what do I do to prepare? I'm like, I prepare my boyfriend. I'm like, so I'm going to start bleeding pretty soon here. So I would like to apologize in advance or anything like that. Please hold me.
right.
And he's just like, all right, here we go. You know, and I feel like that's like the only way. I do track it because I just don't want to be left not knowing if I'm going to Disneyland or something and I accidentally start bleeding because, oh my gosh, being somewhere and not being prepared.
Yeah.
Right. So tracking it.
No, right.
Tracking it will be a good one.
I'm on there now. I'm on that train now.
Always having the tampons, pads / Diva cups ready.
Right.
And Advil. I think that's
Advil,
rather than saying what do I do, I need to say what I need to do. I need to track, get the pads, get the tampons, and take the Advil as soon as I see it's going to start. Don't wait till it starts. I don't know what that's for, who that's for.
To prove to yourself that I feel like you just want to be like, it's not that bad. I don't need it that bad. But like,
let me wait till I'm desperately needing
literally,
it.
and then I take it and it doesn't even do anything because it's been so long.
Oh, and I order cookie dough because I absolutely know I will crave cookie dough.
That's true.
Yeah, I literally for sure know that it'll be just like I'm going to. So I'll always have like one of those like tubes or something stuck in there. Oh gosh, and you throw it in the microwave for like 20 seconds just to heat it up and melt
just a little bit
to melt the chocolate a little bit.
She put me on that. It's so good.
Oh my gosh,
now I want cookie
Toll House, the one.
The chocolate chip one.
Mm-hmm.
Microwave it, literally just a hair, not enough to cook it because it's still
Where's
cookie
my
dough.
phone? Let me just pull up.
I was gonna say we're telling our pregnant friend about some cookie dough, thinking that she's not gonna start like salivating for it.
Yeah, girl, know that.
Well, and they make the cookie dough now that doesn't have the egg in it, so you could eat it pregnant.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of it now is like marked like safe to eat.
And it tastes the same.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
actually
good.
have a brand that Riayn started buying me because he's like, you need to stop eating it with egg, Paloma. I'm like,
You're like, I like to live on the edge.
That's what I said. I was
You're like, it's fine.
That's what I'm like. I haven't gone salmonella yet. And he's like, right. And why are you waiting? Like, what are you doing, dude?
Right.
So he put me on some cookie dough that like you can actually eat, which I did heat it up and it did start like acting weird. Like it was a lot more like gelatinous, but it was good. And I will send
gelatinous.
It was some tasty gelatinous goo.
It was giving like flubber kind of texture, you know, just like it just,
GBT.
rather than like when you cook a cookie, it
And it's
turns
like-
Yeah.
yeah. So,
What's this?
So,
Like,
anyways, but
slime?
yeah, if you love cookie
Like a
dough,
slime pull.
yeah, kind of.
yeah.
It's so good.
The cheese pool.
It's so good. It hits.
yum.
Ooh, I love a cheese pool.
How did we get here?
I don't know.
Oh wait, periods. Yes. No. Yeah. Yeah.
Jess, any tips?
Oh my gosh.
I feel like you already shared so many, so don't feel any
I
pressure.
have a couple liquid IV packets. I don't regularly drink them, but if I'm not fed and watered, like what am I doing?
Right.
And then on the Tylenol thing for a minute, I feel like similar to Riayn, it's not that like, oh, I don't need it yet. It's that I'm afraid that it's going to get so unbearable and I will have already taken everything I could take. And I won't have any overhead to reach for.
Right. Like if you've already taken the medication, you're
And
like,
you're
oh my
like,
god, I'm in so much pain.
what
How can I
do?
I still have an out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just, it's catastrophizing that. I'm not saying that's like the normal reaction to be having, but that's what I run into. Liquid IV, making sure everything I need. I have in my bathroom in like the storage under the sink, I have a little like Target clear bin that has everything related to period and pregnancy so that when I need something, I'm not pressed to find it. I grab the bin.
Right. Oh, I love that.
And then I also have like backups of everything I might need in my nightstand, so that if I really am having terrible, terrible cramps, everything I need is within like a 2 feet radius of me. But I think the biggest thing is just when you don't feel good, you're not necessarily going to be wanting to drink water. You're not going to want to eat. And I already have enough like accidental ADHD disordered eating that I just have to make sure I'm fed.
Yeah.
Well, and especially, you know, on your period, like you do sometimes have lower iron.
Right.
Because you're losing blood.
Right.
And so it's so important to eat and make sure that you're like replenishing all the nutrients in your body. But like Jess said, it's hard to do and remember then. So if you can set yourself up before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's tragic too, because I want like ridiculous things on my period too. Like I want soda so bad on my period. Like I just want soda, and I want snacks, and I want like candy, like all these things, and I'm like, I just need to drink water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's
lay
like,
down.
Let yourself have some of those things.
Yeah.
And also
some
balance
water.
it with some water. And
Some water. I need to just be better about water in general. Like,
Oh my
truly.
gosh,
I'm just
water. I know.
It's so important, and it's like, it just will help so much.
yeah,
It just it like water literally heals.
it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so obvious, and I can tell when I've been drinking a lot of water, and I can tell when I haven't, and I'm like, wow, it's crazy. Maybe just drink the fucking water, you know, and then you'll probably be happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drink more water.
And maybe you should lean right now to like getting the Pedialytes, like the electrolyte. Those
I know.
guys,
I really do like
love
those. I only, and this is so ridiculous, but like I only think about those when I'm drinking,
fair. No, absolutely. I mean,
but
that's
not
what I
like
started.
in my regular life.
Yeah, no,
But I'm like,
that's when we started going down the baby aisle and getting the Pedialytes. We were
Yes.
like, all right, the sticks for Coachella, for you know.
Right.
And now I'm like, oh well, maybe I should.
maybe
use
I'm
them
dehydrated
often.
on this
Yeah.
Wednesday. Like maybe I should,
Right.
This Wednesday.
you know, on this fine Wednesday. I could have a Pedialyte or a liquid IV for like just to drink it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be because I'm hungover or I'm trying to prevent a hangover or whatever the case.
And also, if you do consume a thing with a Pedialyte, make sure to actually have like another glass of water after that, because that's when the Pedialyte is actually helping you, because the Pedialyte is helping you retain the water. So it's actually best.
right.
So don't just like have a glass of water, put it in the Pedialyte, drink that, then have an entire another glass
Look
of water.
at me and not even doing it right.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I like to cut it, so I can't, because it's just too sweet, liquid IV or Pedialyte. So I'll do like half of it or a quarter, and my boyfriend calls it microdosing electrolyte.
That's cute.
Electro. Yeah.
Electrolytes, my bad.
Not you microdosing the electrolytes.
So funny.
Yeah, we're gonna have a crazy weekend. I'm gonna do some microdosing
Yeah.
of electrolytes.
It's the closest I'll ever get.
Oh, good. What a great conversation, ladies, that I don't
know.
even think we expected to have about
I
periods.
know. Periods, womanhood.
It's weird that periods are still so stigmatized. Like, aren't we past that?
Right.
I know.
Is that not just like what happened? Like life? Or I mean, not just
Life.
like, yeah, you know.
Actually, thinking about what you're saying isn't stigmatized made me think of, I actually went on a vacation with my parents recently, and I remember I had like my pads out, and my mom actually grabbed them and was like, here, oh my God, they were just like in the bathroom or something. She was like helping me hide them, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I remember being like, oh no, I'm leaving them in the bathroom, and just, well, your brother and the boys in the bathroom. And I'm like,
Right.
are they gonna freak out if they see tampons? I'm like, I'm bleeding. Does that, and my, you know, like,
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like, at least in like Latin culture, like at least where I grew up, like my tias and everything is very much like, hide the pad, like don't.
Right. Like put it in your bag, take the bag to the bathroom. type vibe.
Yeah. And I mean, even in school, I would never get caught like taking
Oh,
a
yeah.
tampon.
Oh my
or
God, in
something.
school, the most embarrassing thing would be someone seeing you walk to the bathroom with a tampon, and it's like,
Why?
And you can't take your backpack because the teacher's not going to be like, oh yeah, you can take your backpack.
Take your whole backpack.
Yeah,
I used
I'll
to
be
shove
back.
the pads in my pockets.
Yep.
in the back pocket.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
if it was like a thick one, it didn't really work because
Yeah.
it would
well,
be
and it was
lumpy.
even embarrassing to like bring a little pouch because then everyone knew what was in it.
right.
Like it was even embarrassing to be like, let me grab this little pouch out of my backpack and go to the bathroom because
Right.
then they'll know.
Yeah.
right.
And it's like, I do think part of that is just like the general stigma. And I think part of that was like the fear that like boys will think it's gross.
Right.
right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was nothing worse than when you bled through your clothes. That's still the worst thing ever.
It
Yeah.
still is.
It still is. But like at school, bro,
know.
that is literally like tragic. I just like that happened to me multiple times. because
And
like I always was like mortified.
No, that was like a nightmare. Like that was
Literally.
like a trope in movies. Like, did you guys ever watch the Click movie when they like prank her by putting like red paint on her white pants, and it's like, oh my god,
No.
yeah.
oh my god.
But that was like the worst.
No, it was the worst thing ever. And like, you know, the kids would like laugh and make fun, and then you have to wear like your gym shorts, and you're like, can I just go home?
Right.
Like, I've done enough today.
How can we get past this? Like, do we just have to make sure like the younger boys are just like girls bleed and it's fine? Like
Yeah.
that, because that is what makes it so ew is the younger boys and the younger girls feel that way.
Also, I feel like it's like has something to do with like women too, older
It's
women.
the
It's like,
adults.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say they're the ones that are like, be chill, like don't like talk about it, and it's like this, like it's not. It's yeah, it's like not a what's it called?
It's taboo.
Yeah, like yeah, it's taboo, and like the older women don't want, because I feel like there's still in the older generation is like this is like girl conversation, and like this is like we don't talk about our periods like with the boys. They don't know, they don't understand, they don't get it. It's not
Anything about like our reproductive systems.
Yeah.
right.
Right? Like, we don't talk about our periods. I mean, it was only like 2 generations ago that men weren't even in the delivery room when their children were being born, because it's like, that's like a lady thing.
Right.
Like, that's for girls.
Oh no.
Right.
I did not know that, but that is terrible to hear.
Yeah. I was talking to my grandma about that. I was asking her about like what her labors were like, because she, you know, it was really before like epidurals were a thing. And she was telling me about like the differences in her labors. And she's like, yeah, well, you know, with the first, like men weren't in the delivery room then. So, you know, it was just me and the doctors. And, you know, he was waiting for like, once the baby was in, he'd come in. And I was like, whoa,
Go
Hold
back.
on.
what?
Right.
She was like, yeah, that's just, you know, the way things were. And then things started to change. And he was in the delivery room with the second 2. But that even still then, she was saying that was like that was like a new thing.
That's crazy.
But like our parents' generation was really the first one where it was a regular thing for men to be in the delivery room.
Right.
Partially because it was just viewed as like, oh, that's like a women thing, you know?
Right.
We'll come see the baby after.
Right.
And partially because it was like, oh, well, men, you know, they couldn't bear to see that. Like, but they still be like attracted.
Right.
Right.
How disgusting is that?
So I just precursory Google. It says starting in the early 1960s, fathers were let into the labor rooms, but not yet into the case rooms. Medical belief was that men might panic, faint, or increase infection rates, or even malpractice suits.
Scream. Right.
Yeah.
Girl.
Right.
Increase infections.
As a kid.
But isn't that wild? Like, we're
No, that's
not
crazy.
that removed from that. And so if it was that men wouldn't even be in the room when their children were born, God forbid they see a frickin' tampon.
Right.
Right.
And that was the other thing too, like trying to conceal pads, like, but like aggressively, like obviously, like that's why they.
Well,
gave
they're
you the
so
things,
loud.
right?
First of all, how
Girl, the
me in the toilet like
no, the ripping it off,
trying to cough over doing it. Oh my god,
we're all the same. We're all the same.
And I'm like, girl, open up that pad.
I'm like, just
open
get it, girl.
up.
It's fine.
And also, I anytime I know a girl's on her period, I'm just like, oh my god, you poor thing. Like,
No,
you know?
I know. I feel
And so
it's
I'm like, I
tragic.
just hope that in these future generations that it's just like so less like taboo,
And
because it
we
feels so
all
like
are.
shame.
Just like you said, when you know that a girl's on her period or like whatever, and you're just like, you just feel for her.
Yeah.
We all feel like that. We're just
Right.
not all saying anything.
right.
So like all of like like we're all like, I see you, girl. Like, yes. That's why when we come in here and somebody's like, I'm bleeding, and the other one's like, oh my God, same, tragic. Oh, that's the great thing about working in a team of women is that we just get it.
and we just sync our stuff.
Yeah.
I'll come onto set and everyone's like, oh, there's like 3 girls also on their period. I'm like, awesome.
yeah.
Or actually, you guys have impacted me. Like I'm like 2 days about to, and then
Yep.
it'll make me like start sooner. It's kind of cool because it's kind of like not us like
It's
in
kind of like
sync.
powers.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
uniting.
You know? Yeah.
We did come to set
We're
one
the
time. and-
Avengers.
Yeah, there was one
Yes,
time I
there
think
was
the
one
3 of
time
us
we-
were on,
we
and
all were,
we
yep.
were like, oh
Oh
boy.
I wonder if that was an episode that we cried on.
Probably.
That would be so funny to actually know if we did.
I think it was one of the times we filmed a game episode, because I'm always on my period when we film, and I was the one time I wasn't, and you
we
were all
all
3
were.
on.
Yeah, shoot, that too. Oh, Jess.
love that.
Oh man,
That's so funny.
We all just take turns.
How do you feel like, because I don't know how long everyone's menstrual cycle is. For me, it has varied in the last couple of years, but I feel like with the like alleged PMDD and all the other stuff, I feel like I maybe only get like 2 weeks out of the month where I feel like myself and I can like be creative or be social or like engage on a higher level. How do you feel like having your period affects you in the work that you do now?
Well, it's interesting because, like, I mean, much of our world is structured around men, but, like, men's hormonal cycles are, like, in a 24-hour period, whereas women's are in, like, typically a 30-day, or if you're me, like, a 70-day cycle. That's how
So
my cycles usually were. But, like, the work week, you know, is structured in a way, and just the work calendar in general, that you're just kind of expected to just push right on through your period. And that's not always possible.
Yeah.
Especially for people that have, like, hormonal issues.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely feel like it impacts the way I feel. Like, I feel like I always have, like, I'm going through a life crisis week where I'm like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I doing anything? Like, nothing makes any sense. And I just want to go back to, it's always like, I just want to go back to when I was feeling like this, but it was like years ago and it doesn't exist and it's fine. And then I have another week of just like feeling, like physically feeling not good. And then the week after that is like the recovery week. And then I have like 1 week of like, all right, now we're back. Hello. Hello. And then we're back at it again. And it's just like, it's so weird. And I can tell you when you brought up like preparing your boyfriend, now that I have a boyfriend and obviously I've been on my period. And so I find myself recognizing like different behaviors in myself now that he's around. Because before it was just, I was just dealing with myself.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really like notice anything. But I notice when I'm like, oh, if I'm like right before I start and I'm like very emotional or like feeling really needy or like whatever, I'm like, okay. Oh, and then flip the next time I'm like so irritable, like everything he says is so stupid and I just like can't even look at him. And then I'm like, girl, yesterday you were crying because he didn't hug you for 30 minutes straight. Like what's the problem?
Right.
I'm on my period. I'm going through it.
Right. Yeah. And the heads up, let me tell you, they're like, oh, can I get you anything? Can I feed you?
Literally.
Can I feed you?
Can I feed you? Like, are you hungry? Are you okay?
I know.
No, you're so pretty. You're so pretty. I'm so scared.
And you know what? As we're talking about it, I think that Riayn is probably one of my first boyfriends that I literally let into my period world. Like, I always was kind of like handling it on my own. Like, I would
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
that because that's tea.
You're so right.
You don't talk about it with some guys. You're
Some
like,
guys
this is not for you.
It goes back to the, well, let me just hide it. You know, let me just go through this on my own.
Yeah.
Sexy.
And then the only time that you let them know is when they're like trying to do some stuff and you're like, I'm bleeding. I'm on period. And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's like the extent of conversation you have about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I feel like this is the very first time where I'm like, hey, and I feel like he's also learning too, where he's like, oh my, he's like, this is terrible. He's like, how are women?
When they start realizing.
Yeah, he genuinely is like, I'm watching you and you are not the only girl that goes like, people always, he's like, how do you even? I'm like, how do we even? Thank you, Riayn.
Right.
Thank you for that.
Because also I don't know how we
don't know.
Well,
and if you could tell the men, that would be great. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, yeah, no. And I don't think, obviously men like get exposed to that or even aware if they don't have sisters or shit like that.
Right.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think it's important for like partners to step up like that.
Yeah.
But I think they learn that from their fathers. I think it comes down to dads destigmatizing it and being involved in it and not being weird about it and being like, I'm going to the store. Oh, do you need tampons?
Right.
You know, oh, hey, do you need anything? Oh, you're in your period. Anything special you want me to make you? Right? Like,
right.
And when you grow up in a household like that and you see your dad react that way about periods, that is your normal.
Right.
Instead of it being secret and hidden. And that was a conversation that Steven brought up during my pregnancy with Grace when, you know, he was having the realization of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a dad to a girl.
Yeah.
He was like, how do I not make that weird? Like, I don't want to be that kind of dad. How do I be like involved and how do I support and make it not stigmatized? And I was like, first of all, green flag that you're thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
We do have quite a bit of time.
Oh my God. That is amazing.
That's
just hearing that, Sierra, oh God, I'd be like, yes, thank God.
Yeah. I'm just glad you're thinking about it. Especially because he didn't grow up with any sisters.
Right. So he was even
like,
further removed. Like, it's just, damn.
A man who like is here. Love that.
I know.
10 points.
Yeah.
But also fair questions. Like, how,
a fair question.
what to do.
The
I don't
mom,
even
the
know.
mom and dad just have to be so like openly talk about it. Like when she gets her period, just being like, "Oh, I need tampon." Literally, it's just gonna be modeled because if the mom's hiding it, I'm gonna feel like I had, and that's why I guess I did think I had to hide it. But then I grew out, like I left living from home, and then was like, "Fuck that, I don't care."
Yeah.
But then when you're back in the home, you're like, "Oh, hey," and I'm like, "Oh, no, we don't do that." I even told her, I was like, "Oh no, we don't do that anymore."
Yeah.
She was
Right.
like. I was like, girl, every girl bleeds and they know, like who, and
Yeah.
but like her like seeing like, oh right, like, but she learned that. I'm sure her mom also was like, Mija, you need to put it away, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just passed down, like
passed
you said.
down.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I can tell my like sister is like really weird about it. She's also new here. So
Right.
that's fair. She's in high
Right.
school, you know, that's like tragic.
Of course.
It's like the worst thing ever. I mean, I'm like T, but you
Going
know,
into high school, oh girl, come
it's
here.
just
Let me hug you.
Let me hug you. But she's like weird about it. But I'm always like, yeah, girl, I'm on my period, and I'll be throwing my tampons around. She's like, Riayn, stop. But I'm like, got to because
Yeah, keep desensitizing
like
her.
it's
she'll be
like
fine.
not that serious.
Yeah.
How old were you guys when you got your period?
Oh, I was so young, you guys. I was still in
Really?
elementary school. It was
Stop.
it was so tragic. That's why I was like, before I even got to middle school, I had like boobs and shit. Like I was like so fully
right.
developed. Like I was in 5th grade. And I was the only, I
Shit.
remember like they were giving the health class and
Yeah, I
they were
remember the
explaining and I
class.
already knew and they were like, and I was just like kind of the girl being like, oh no, yeah,
Yeah.
like your like muscles get used to like after wearing it for a while and blah, blah, blah. And the teacher was like, and I was just like, well, you're not giving them the tea also.
I'm screaming.
You're like,
Paloma was
actually,
like, sit down.
let me
I
interject.
got this. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was still so new and I was trying to regurgitate all the stuff my cousins and my people were telling
Right.
me. And obviously we had just gotten to school where they're telling me and I had already gone through it. So I was
Right.
like, son of a...
Oh my god. I don't
5th
think I
grade
knew
is
that.
tough.
That's tough.
It was so tough, you guys. Oh, babe.
Because at least like by the time you're in middle school, because I got mine in 6th grade when I was 12, at least then you have passing periods so you can like stop in the bathroom then. It's a little
Right.
more accepted. You're like carrying around more stuff with you. I don't know. I feel like elementary school to be like having to navigate that's so
Well, you
tough.
could also hardly even go to the bathroom alone.
Yeah, right?
And you have to,
Like-
and you like, I remember having to be like, may I please use the restroom? Like, my mother had to then talk to the teacher that I had already gotten my period because I was like, I need to go. And she was like, you literally, and I'm like, literally trying to navigate my period for the first time and like, oh my God, I have to go.
Right.
I feel like I had to go back to the bathroom because the tampon wasn't inserted right. And she was
Right.
like, you just went. And I was like, I'm going to bleed myself. Like, situations like that. So,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
my mom
yeah.
had to be like, obviously she's still young and figuring out what the hell's going on. So
Right.
that was a fun thing. And I had girls being like, it's so great that you already have yours. Like, I want mine so bad. And I was like the girl, like, listen, ladies, I understand we are all being
Right.
told that it's like the greatest thing. And I'm told them, I was like, no, I know. I was like, enjoy it. I swear to God. I was like, past. I was like,
Right.
I was like, no, you don't. I was like, I am so stressed about this pool party already. And you guys are not. Like, that was
Right.
so tough on me. Poor, let me hug
Yeah.
Yankee. Oh, girl. Oh, she poor little thing. But like, was really out here spreading news of, girl,
Right.
live in relish that you don't have it yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And guess what?
It's crazy what a year difference makes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't get mine until like right before 7th grade.
Oh, that's so
Yes.
I was like, I think it was just like, I think at that point I was just like really, really active. I think that was like my most active, which, you know, they say if you're like doing the most, it like comes later.
Yeah.
That like sometimes
Sports
that
girlies.
happens.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. But I was like, oh shit. I remember being like, this was bound to happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Were
And
you
now
like
it's here.
excited or were you like,
No,
ugh?
I was just like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, because, you know, I did all the things. I did, you know, we did the health classes. And at that point, too, I was in middle school for a year already. So, like,
Yeah.
it was coming and I knew it was coming. But I knew that it sucked.
Yeah.
So I was like, ugh, no, now this is going to be my life forever.
Yeah.
I remember having that like realization when I had my first period. Like I knew what a period was.
Right.
My mom had talked to me about it. We
Right.
had talked about it in school. I
Right.
knew.
Yes.
And then it came and I was like, oh mom, I got my period. And she's like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I was like, so like, every month,
Right.
for the rest of my life. And she's like, well,
Right.
until you go through menopause.
Right. And
when
I'm
you're
like, oh, great. Something else. Awesome.
I'm like, so for like 30 or 40 years.
Right.
Every month. And she's like, yeah, you get used to it. You deal with it. And I was like, hold on.
Right.
This was fine in theory.
Right. This made sense beforehand.
Yes. But really?
Sucks.
Yeah.
And you're not just bleeding, you also will feel headaches, some cramping,
Mood swings.
Yeah. I'm like, oh,
Cravings.
damn, it comes with all these party
And it
favors.
costs money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that too.
Your introduction is also puberty.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Right.
bam, bam. Did you guys ever get the book, The Care of Keeping in You?
Yes,
Wait,
the American
yes.
Girl book.
Yeah, we'll put a picture of it on screen in
wrapped in
case
the
you
towels.
recognize it.
Yes.
I do remember
looks
that
like
photo.
this.
Oh. Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
there it is.
Because I thank you for confirming it was an American Girl book. Because I was like, I swear it was, but the cover's not giving that.
No,
But
yes.
my school didn't do health classes or anything like that.
Oh.
And so I remember my mom like sliding me that book and being like, let me know if you have any questions. And I'm not going to know what questions what? No.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Anyways.
mom did like a book page by page study with me.
Oh.
She wanted me to like go through it with her.
Right.
Yeah. We did that one, and we did one called "What's Going On with My Body."
Yep.
Right, because what is going on?
And it was like page by page. She's like, "Any questions on this one? Oh my god!
Scream.
Any?
Well, how was that now that you had the mom that like actually sat down and like gave materials?
Yeah.
What was that like?
I mean, I appreciate, especially looking back, I appreciate it because the sex ed I got at school was so not comprehensive and truly taught me little to nothing.
Yep.
But I do appreciate that my mom went through it. And what I also appreciate is the book, the What's Going On with My Body, had like the girls and the boys, and she read both to me, and my dad read both to my brothers.
Oh, great.
And I thought that was really good.
Right.
That like, okay, we're not just explaining what's going on with your body, but like here's what's going on in general.
Collectively.
Yeah, let's keep
right.
doing that. And like let's continue to emphasize on the periods with the guys so they can like
Just so that we could know. Because also I'm finding out stuff too.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Ryan was telling me some stuff and I was like, huh? Oh. What? He was like, yeah. And I was like, ew.
Well, I don't want to hear about that.
Yeah, like,
that's
I
boy
don't-
stuff.
yeah, that keep it to yourself.
That's gross.
Yeah, now that's nasty. But also I'm like, no, right, because who was just going to tell me what goes on with boys? That's not relevant, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So they just like don't tell. And then I'm out here like mad that Ryan doesn't know whatever. And I'm like, it's the same thing.
Yeah, right.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Also, I'm so sorry if this whole episode my hand keeps like jutting to my stomach. This baby is kicking like freaking crazy right now, like more than ever, and especially kicking me in the bladder. Where like every 30 seconds we're talking and I'm like, I'm gonna pee my pants, and I'm fine.
Right. Wait, is she kicking you a lot because you're like talking a lot?
Maybe she hears you guys and she's like, I want to come out.
I was just
part of
thinking,
this?
I feel like we had a conversation last time where, and maybe Rachel was here too, we were talking about how like when you talk or something, it's like rocking your baby to sleep or something like that.
When you're walking around.
When you're walking around. Yeah.
Well, and so that's why just sitting here, she's like,
Hello. Yeah, and
what are we
chatty.
telling- Yeah.
Oh my god.
She's like, how about you walk around and shut up?
Yeah.
So I can take a nap.
Right? Not to be like the annoying like pregnancy trope of the person who's always just like,
Right.
but I'm like, oh,
Right. Sarah's like, hold on.
I was going to say, and Rachel's Vlogmas from last month, she made a point that I hadn't thought about. Because her baby kicks and reacts to her husband, Mario. But she said that it was starting to do it to your voice, or that next to Rachel and Mario, Sierra, because Rachel's editing so much
my
and always in meetings and always on the phone, the baby recognizes your voice. So she's excited once the baby's like here to see how he reacts in real time to meeting Sierra.
Isn't
like,
that
hearing
so
the voice.
funny?
So funny.
Iconic.
But right.
I know she said that in a vlog, and I was like, oh my god. Oh my god. First of all,
so
your
funny.
poor baby has to listen to me all day.
Literally. That
second
is
of all, like,
so funny.
They're gonna know me.
I know you're like, love that. Love that for me. That is hilarious.
That's true, because Sarah will be like, hi. And you know the baby will be like, oh my gosh, I know this. I've heard
I know her.
I know, oh my
Me
god.
holding her baby for the first time. Okay, I just want to make this comfortable for you. Hey guys, welcome back to another vlog.
Yes. I just want to make this comfortable for you.
Oh my god.
That was so
Holy shit.
funny.
That was so freaking funny.
I'm screaming.
Your timing on that,
No,
Sarah?
that was
Good one.
comedy.
Good one, girl.
And you know what's comedy? That. You know what's not? Matt Rive.
Amen.
Oh my god.
Well, I feel like that is a great place to end this episode.
Yes.
Do we want to do our Woo Girl Minute shout out for this?
Yes.
This is a new segment we're trying out if you missed the last episode. Every week, we are going to read a comment or a message from you guys just saying something that you are celebrating this week, whether it's big, small, anything in between, something that you want us to woo for you. And we will. We will.
Well, we will.
In today's Woo Girl Minute, we want to celebrate our friend Alexis. She says, I used to barely be able to run a mile and I ran a 7K yesterday. Dude.
Oh my gosh.
A 7K,
Alexis.
bro. How long is that? Like what? What's
Babes, 1 mile that we walked the last weekend times 7.
it's 7 miles.
No. 7
No, it's not.
kilometers.
Yeah, so
which is I think like around 4 miles, right?
It's 4.34.
Let's woo for Alexis. Woo! We're proud of you.
That's huge.
Yeah,
that's
an
huge.
You go, girl.
No, literally, good for you because couldn't be me.
I've like always wanted to do one of those.
Jess and I are like looking at each other because we were
I do not relate.
so we were just talking about how maybe after I have this baby, like maybe at the end of next year, we possibly are considering maybe doing a video where we try to go from couch to 5K.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because we were
And like train together. We were sporty girls, but not so much anymore.
I used to run.
Oh my
We're going to find out. We'll
I
see.
love that. I would eat
It's
that
like a
content up.
commitment.
No,
but
right.
we were like, what if we gave ourselves like 3 months in advance? Because we also don't want to like be like, we're doing a 30-day challenge.
No,
you know, like
that's
let's
insane. Yeah.
ramp ourselves up
Yeah,
slowly.
we're not doing a marathon.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But, and I mean, dude, I haven't like ran to run in a long time.
Right.
Like I like to exercise still,
But running is different.
not the running.
No.
In PE high school, when they forced me to run the mile, would have
that's
probably
probably-
been the last time I ran a mile. Like, because I was graded or not
Well, I
even
had-
graded.
because
I
I
didn't
had
care. I was
to.
forced.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was going
Dude.
to say the last time I ran was, I think, maybe the Color Run 5K.
Oh my god.
That was like years ago.
Well, question-
Sorry for my joints.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Question, how long do you guys want to do the challenge for? Like, how far do you want to be able to run, or just
To do a 5K.
A 5K.
Yeah.
A 5K. Okay,
Well,
gotcha.
we had been maybe looking at some of, we'll see what it ends up panning out because it will depend when we're able to film if we do it. But Sierra suggested, which I think is so funny, and I'm so down to do it if it works out, doing a mud run or one of the ones with like a little bit of the obstacle course.
Okay, actually call me because I would love to do a mud run. Call me, please.
that's
I would.
cool.
Yeah.
Ryan's like, I'll watch.
Yeah, I was literally gonna be like, I will be cheering so loud at the finish line. Like I'm the one. I will have the flowers. I
woo
have all
for
this
us?
stuff. Absolutely, and I'll be right there.
I want you with just a sign that says woo.
Say less.
I feel like it's probably going to be something like the course that we did for the Skims video where we had to like climb.
Because like that stuff, I feel like that was really fun. I like that.
That was so
That was
much
fun.
fun.
Dude, the straps popping off, the amount of boob, crazy.
I know we're gonna have
The
to strap
busted
it.
lip.
Oh my god, my busted lip. Yeah, but it was worth it. It was so fun. It was so fun.
Yeah, we'll link that below. That was a main channel video for Skims. Ryan got a busted lip. I don't know how much of that made it into the final.
I
but
have
it was
no idea,
crazy
but it was
behind
wild.
the scenes. And my favorite thing is you did it playing mermaids.
Right. We were literally just like, let's play mermaids.
It wasn't during the course.
Nope.
Not during the challenge.
Nope.
Well, Alexis, we're proud of you. We're excited for you. And also, please drop your tips in the comments when you watch this for how to prepare for running after not running. Because
Right.
Jess and I are contemplating.
It's true. Leave it along with some of your own Woo Girl minutes because remember
Yes.
that we source the episodes from these comments in Instagram. So if you don't follow us on Instagram, head over there too. Yes. It's exciting.
Yes. Well, and on that note, we'll see you guys next week. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Please note that this episode may contain paid endorsements and advertisements for products and services. Individuals on the show may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to in this episode.